Hello, Chunky. It's the peak of the week. It is a Wednesday, and tonight from 9 o'clock at the phone-in, my goodness, have we got a lot to talk about. Little John Torode is gone. His mate, Greg Wallace, with no pants and his dingly-donglies hanging out, he's gone. Gino DeCampo's off to Australia, he's gone. Russell Brand, they're trying to get gone. He was originally the Lothario from Boogie Book. Now he's facing a lifelong sentence. It seems like this is a game. Yesterday, my mate, Katie Hopkins, managed to find herself cancelled in a venue that both of us had previously sold out. So we now know that this is a game where they're trying to get rid of people that they don't like for whatever reason it is. Gino DeCampo, for example, knows where a lot of the bodies are buried at ITV, having stood there with his arse out, encouraged by Phil and Holly, who know nothing about each other, even though they went on holiday together. And the young man that was involved was, of course, present in front of both of their eyeballs. It's very strange to me, as I have been a vocal cord convict, you see, for speaking words. Alarm and distress is the new thing that's been weaponized by people who want to shut you up. So what I'm going to do this morning is explain to you exactly how being cancelled and being legally bankrupted through civil litigation are very connected. And if they can't wipe you out in one way, which is to just simply cancel you, they'll then shove you in prison. And if that doesn't work, they'll try and bankrupt you. These are three methods in 2025 to cancel a celebrity. What is so obnoxious about this whole thing is we've all got our own audience, and it is people who mostly don't care or don't know what they're talking about who are the ones trying to get people finished. It's a game. What is curious is those pointing fingers forget that there's several pointing back, and as we know, journalists have the reptile skin and a rind of a rhinoceros, and not necessarily the most squeaky clean of blotting books themselves. We need to be careful, don't we, when we point fingers, because we never know what might be thrown back at you. So this morning, I'm going to try and explain why the cancel culture is out of control, and there will be nobody left in show business if this carries on. Tonight at 9 o'clock, I'm going to announce my national tour, and let's see how long it is before they phone up and even though they're not going. Why is it that victims in my case have paid twice to sign up to my website? Is it entrapment, or is it that they're so obsessed and fixated with me they can't say ta-ra and move on with their lives? Or is it that they're simply trying to catch me out?
Anyway, that's not why you called.
Sadly, a lot of us who speak for a living are finding it increasingly difficult to navigate the medicated mentals with the big boggly eyes that have nothing better to do in their mother's back bedroom than try and make themselves feel better in their miserable, sad, lonely lives by cancelling people like me. For John Torode, it's the end of the game. You can't recover in mainstream media from an accusation like racism. It's very hard for someone like Russell to ever overcome the negative publicity of something like he's been accused of. But for Katie Hopkins and I, it's different because we are mere gobshites. Our job is to offend those who are too stupid to understand what we're trying to say. Because for our audience, there's nothing offensive about it. It is just two people having an opinion. So why has it become so toxic in 2025 for people to disagree? Why can't we agree to differ? Why do people have to use the courts through civil litigation to bankrupt you, or send you to prison, or just simply have you completely ejaculated from show business? I'll explain next.
Don't trust the mainstream media. They'll make your teeth itch. Alex Belfield's voice of reason.
Howdy, Chunky. It's the voice of reason for a Wednesday, the peak of the week. We're back live tonight from 9 when we'll be announcing the tour and having all kinds of chat about things that, well, are infinite. It seems never-ending, the number of stories this week that have blown my mind. Where do we start? Well, let's begin at the very beginning with my mate, Horseface Hopkins. Yes, Katie Hopkins and I go back a very long way, almost 2.5 inches, depending what position she's in. Katie is a star now, and she is one of the biggest selling theatre artists in the UK. And whether they like it or not, she is beloved by the people who pay to see her. Well, yesterday she was cancelled from a venue because the bosses of the council don't like her. I think this is complete horsecock. Wednesday, the peak of the week, and the phone-in is back tonight, where we will announce my national tour. We are back on the road, despite probation saying, no, you're not going to ever speak again. You won't release your book, and you will not be able to go on YouTube or on your own website. Then suddenly, after a legal letter, I can release my books. In fact, the second one will be released on September the 6th at a live gig in Blackpool. We'll be announcing the full tour tonight. At AlexBelfield.com, where you'll get £5 off if you're a subscriber and a member of our little secret family. We don't want to be public, because the more public you are, the more arseholes try and bring you down. It is a game to shushy, and we have seen in the news this week several examples of where the game to shut someone up and put people in fear of the truth outweighs justice and fairness. It's incredible what is going on. I brought you a video yesterday about the lady that wore the Union flag on her dress and was banned from school. They've backed down now and said, sorry, it shouldn't have happened. But the fact that we live in a country now where we are so ashamed of our heritage, our reality, which is that we are from the United Kingdom, our 4 little states put together to be one, until people like Prickford and, of course, Jeanette McCranky Sturgeon got involved when they tried to destroy us. Since then, we seem to have had a bit of alchemy where we've come back together. We see lots of synergy now with Ireland and what's going on there with the dinghy divers. In the news this morning at AlexBelfield.com, I tell the story of a lady who says that she can't get her child in school because the illegals, the potential stabbers and offenders and sexual perverts, mainly men, 25 to 35, are getting preferential treatment for their children over locals, indigenous people. We can't really talk about it here because they'll say, you're a racist. And that's what they do now. They weaponize everything. Alarm and distress is the new weaponized version of don't speak about me because I don't want you to talk about the truth. It's so sad that people like Katie Hopkins, my mate, has been so successful and so unbelievably brilliant since I went to jail for 5.5 years for hurty words. Do you remember? In 2022, when they sent me down for something that didn't happen by somebody who didn't exist. They said my influence could lead to one of my fans doing something that didn't happen that made some people feel uncomfortable, and indeed gave them the opportunity in 2 cases to get the conviction of stalking without fear, alarm and distress. So if you're not feeling alarm and distress now, I'm probably stalking you. When we announce tonight that we're going on tour, I won't be giving the venue name, because as soon as I do, the trolls will have their game to get me cancelled. The medicated mental types who live in their mother's back bedrooms with the big boggly eyes are so consumed and obsessed and fixated with the likes of me and Katie that they spend all day, because they're unemployed and penniless, on the phone trying to cause trouble, and on the tippy-tappy sending emails to weasel snake-like bosses of venues who will buckle under the pressure just on the off chance that one of these freaks might turn up in their little special world and cause an argy-bargy. The reality for both Katie and I is we've never had any trouble at any of our live events whatsoever. There hasn't been a single show stop, as they call it in Twirlyland, in Loveyland, when you have to give up because something's happened that's so momentous. Well, neither of us have had that. Katie yesterday was cancelled by Ben Hall, which is in Rugby, a venue that both of us have sold out. I was told by the management, you're not welcome, so we didn't book it. But Katie was told she was. And then 4 days before the sold-out event goes ahead, the 2 bosses say, no, we daren't risk it because we don't want to be part of something that might be remotely controversial.
I'm from Rugby, I've made it. This is the London Palladium. We are here tonight telling you that no matter what you want to do, you can stick your mask up your arsehole. We want to...
It seems like the idea that Katie might get nearly 500 people in a room and have a laugh blows their mind, and they're so nervous that people might actually enjoy themselves and feel part of a community for an hour or two that they'd rather put on some arty-farty, namby-pamby, pinko liberal, Guardian reading, champagne sipping, oyster eating, nagaman, shushy production of opera that no fucker wants to see in Rugby, and they'll play to 4 people. That, of course, will get them Arts Council funding, which is the scam of Theatreland. The reason that most theatres are still remaining open is because they're given money by you out of tax money to put on shite for one-legged lesbians or whatever, minority groups that have no audience but tick a box, and that's how they remain open. Whereas Katie, on the other hand, and hopefully me when I come back, will do big numbers, sell out in the past. Let's show some video. Show them, Tarquin, of what happened when Katie and I went to Blackpool, for example. We'll be returning next Easter. By the way, the show will be back there. As much as my lot said, you will never speak again, you will not perform again, you can't release your books, you can't go back on the internet, you can't have YouTube. Well, they've had to fall on their sword because, of course, the law says that I can. There is, of course, no means of appeal in this business. You just have to go about it and hope for the best because as we know, that you will never get any reaction from a civil serpent from any kind of petition, for example. Look at Lucy Connolly, should not be in prison. There are petitions trying to get her out. Nobody listens, nobody cares. I always told my people, don't bother. Don't even try to write to anybody. Don't even bother with a petition because they don't care. They've already made their decision and they'll stick by it because nobody falls on their swords in authority because it makes them look weak. Whereas I believe, actually, strength comes from admitting you're wrong sometimes and backing down. As for suing, there's no point doing that either because we know that the courts are asses. We know that the law is an ass by definition. We know that it is completely corrupt, and we know that from the beginning when you're involved with the police to the end when you're stood in front of a judge, it is all pre-decided, especially in high-profile cases like mine. We know that the courts is all about money. That's why I've spent £400,000 getting fucking nowhere. That's why I ended up in the High Court and had to settle because I knew that I would be blackmailed into an amount of money that would steal this house, which is my pride and joy that I've spent my entire career doing show after show. For 30 years this year I've been in show business, and I've saved up my money to pay for this, not to have it taken away paying legal bills. In fact, just yesterday, I had a letter from a lawyer demanding several £1,000s for me to drop a writ and to settle and to go away quietly. No, that's not how it works. But there are consequences. If you fight this stuff, the game is to get you in court. As Katie proved in her litigation with Monroe, it isn't what you're fined that is going to kill you. It is the legal costs, because the legal fraternity are law unto themselves and completely and utterly self-serving. As I know to my cost, once you start hiring lawyers, you can't win because they always win. There are no winners other than lawyers. So when you see stories about civil law, there is no such thing. It is Robin Hood back in the day times 1,000, where only self-serving lawyers continue to build costs to feather their own nests at the price of the person who is stood in court, win or lose. Now, I was smart in my civil litigations over the years. I've had many over the years, and I've realised that the best thing to do is give a fake apology and walk away quietly because you can't win. And it saves you hundreds of thousands of pounds in costs and lands them with the bill at the end because they have to pay it. For defamation, it really is only 10 or 20 grand when you say something about someone, providing there's no material damage, which none of mine have had because they're just words, hurty words that they didn't like. But you can buy a gagging order in this country for about £250,000. That's what it is. So just to let you know, nothing is as it seems. When you're a performer in show business, you put on a show, you're at the mercy of the people booking you. And they can be nobbled. And don't be under any castration whatsoever that this isn't corrupt, that there aren't influencers, dark forces putting pressure on venues to cancel people like Katie and I. You need somebody with backbone like the people at the Blackpool North Pier, who have been incredible to both Katie and I. When I brought Katie back on stage in 2022, we had a hoot. It was phenomenal. We did 3 sellout nights. It was the biggest grossing weekend in the history of the pier. It's big business, but they've got smarts. They have no agenda, and they're not nobbled by the mainstream media, whereas council people are. You know, I believe that the police are corrupt. And you know, I believe that in my case, certainly, whilst they were smashing in my back doors, arresting me 5 times and 3 times raiding me illegally without a warrant, they could have been stopping a man called Callicane who went on to murder 3 people. So no, I have absolutely no faith in the police whatsoever. The entire legal system is not only broken, with 70,000+ cases waiting, by the way, for the Mags and the Clown. The Clown Court has rapists who can't get a date in court to either be sent down or to clear their name. So this is at all kinds of levels where people are being failed from top to bottom. But be sure of one thing. The only people profiting are lawyers and civil servants that get paid regardless. Just know that anything that is touched by public money, in my opinion, and I'm entitled to it, is utterly corrupt. But as for getting involved in civil litigation, beware, because nobody wins other than the lawyers. But one thing I do want you to know, as I sit here feeling like an alien, is that despite the lawyers winning, we live in a country where you can use the system to buy silence. And for about £250,000, you can get somebody to shut up in the High Court. If they don't play the game with costs, you can buy silence. It's a terrifying reality that very powerful people, and as we know, there are lists of people on maybe, I don't know, Epstein papers, for example, that currently is not being released. Why? But you can buy silence, even if it is. You can put somebody, the layman, somebody like me, into a courtroom knowing that you can't win. You have absolutely no chance because of the cost, not because of the damage. The damage is chicken shit. 10 grand, 20 grand. But the costs, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700,000 pounds. Or in Katie's case, enough to wipe her out. So if you're sitting there today smirking about Katie, well, that says more about you than it does about her. She's brought a lot of joy to a lot of people the last few years. And he's doing sell-out tours across the country. She can go into any town and sell out. There ain't many shows can do that. I see a lot of papered shows, that is to say that they give away free tickets to put bombs on seats. She doesn't have to do that. She could do any number of nights in any town in the country. God bless her. But just know they used lawfare against her, and lawfare is going on across this country, where very rich people with deep pockets are using lawyers at infinite cost to bring people down. It's terrifying. You can read about it in my new book, which is out on September 6th. That's the first HMP book. Locked Down, Locked Up, by the way, about my court case will be out on the day that I'm out of license. We ain't risking that. No, we're not giving them an opportunity. I know every word of it's fine, but we know how they'll use lawfare to make us feel like aliens. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. I love Katie very, very much. And next Easter, we'll be back on stage together. I'll be on tour in August and September. If you want a £5 discount, you can go to alexbelfield.com and register now, where I do the morning news at 6 a.m. every day, Monday to Saturday, 30 minutes of the 30 biggest stories. And we've even got new merch, like my new ugly mug. Yes, I'm weaponizing my own mugshot. Why shouldn't I? Fuck 'em. I'm rehabilitated, 100% rehabilitated. Never did 1 second of rehabilitation because I'm a 0.17% risk. They don't like me reminding you of that. But just remember, we are all being silenced in one way or another, whether it's shadow banned on YouTube, whether it's in the High Court with defamation claims, or indeed sent to prison to gag us. It's only the strongest, though, that keep fighting. It's only the bravest that keep coming back. And Kate is a fighter. Don't you worry about that. I can't wait to take to the stage with her in Blackpool. In 2026, at Easter, we will be there. In the meantime, she continues to tour. You can go to her website, katiehopkins.com, and you can go to alexbelfield.com for the Voice of Reason. 6 days a week with the news at 6 a.m, 30 minutes of the biggest stories and the phone in tonight from 9 and Sunday from 9. And there's nothing they can do about it. But they're trying. Oh boy, are they trying.
Oh, shushy, shushy, please be quiet. This tippy-tappy gobshitery ain't for you. Alex Belfield's Voice of Reason.